Hello, it's me again. I am going to teach you about the basics of squats today. Now, squats is something that everyone knows, yes, and it's also quite an exercise that's prone to injury. So I thought I'd share a few pointers of making your squats a bit more efficient while you work onto it. Squats is all about alignment, and it's alignment in your joints. So it's all about having your knees in line with the toes, and as you sit back, it's all about having that 90-degree angle from your feet. The first thing that personal trainers would always teach is a figure 4, which is just having your hands by your side and you're trying to sit down all the way back, forming like a figure 4 if you can. And as you notice, I am not at my full squat just because I have inflexible ankles. So I just go to a point where my chest is still lifted as I sit back and then coming up. The next thing to note is that your knees are threading over your toes as you sit back and down. Making sure that the knees are not over the toes, because if that happens, your heels will lift, and we call this a Micheal Jackson. So we don't want to do that because it really ruptures your knee joint. Now, where the hips align in squats is very important to protect the lower back. You can do a little exercise by tilting your hip back and forth, making the range really big, and then slowly finding the neutral position by reducing the range of your hips. Stay there. The next thing, gotta use your core to support your squats. You can't belly flop because that will actually hurt your lower back. So think about taking a breath in, and then as you breathe out, just keeping your belly tucked in as much as you can. So that works in the core muscles as you do your squats. So as you squat back, sit back into your heels. Stay lifted through the belly as you come down. Go to a point where you don't want to feel an arch. So just go to a point where you can still hold your heels down and then come back up. Don't have to go to full range. Going down and up. Yeah. Checking the knees in line with the toes. There you go. Yeah. And that's how you do a more effective squat. Now, in terms of shifting muscle groups around your legs, because it's a very big muscle group that you want to focus on, if your stance is mid, it works mainly the quads. So if you're a runner or a cyclist, do lots of squats with the mid stance. If not, you can go wider, making sure your toes are slightly pointing out, because that's how you align, how the hips align with the body. And then same thing, thread the knees over the toes and behind the toes. And that works more into the inner thigh muscles and the outer glutes. The wider you go, yes, it shifts the focus to the inner thighs and the outer glutes. And as well as the wider you go, it protects the lower back as well. You've got more space for your hips to drop and your tailbone to tuck in forwards. So think about tucking the tailbone forwards as you squat in a wider stance. And that is squats in a nutshell.
Now that you get the fundamentals of your squat right, you can add other exercises in, like your core. Stepping back into your plank, making sure your knees are still aligned with the toes. Or you can add more lunges, more emphasis on the legs between your squats. Or you can go side to side, working more into your outer glutes and inner thighs. Or add some explosion work, which is a bit of jumps. You move from narrow to wide.